2-0. Oh.
Hello and welcome in to LFC Transfer Room as the Reds have dropped points for, seems like a shock to say that this year. Joined by Kev, Reese and Wes. Start with you, Kev. How are we feeling after that?
Do you know what, mate? A little bit down because, the manner in which we drew the game. But if you look, taken into its context, at some point, points were going to be dropped, weren't they? So, and look at who's gone there and have come away with nothing. So for me, it's a point gained. If you look at it from that way, it's tough to take though, because at the minute, after the high we've had over the last week, beating Madrid and beating Man City, to have lost points the way in the manner we did, I think doesn't help matters. But overall, though, we're still unbeaten, so I'm happy with that. How are you?
Disappointed, proper disappointed. I knew we'd have a bit of hate in the comments about the Kelleher title, but we'll get into that. Reese, how are you? How do you feel after that disappointing draw?
Disappointed because obviously it was a tough game. It was back and forth, but then because we went in front, I thought we were going to see it out. I didn't expect that mistake to happen, but at some point, like I said, there's no way we're going to win all of our games, and I would rather take a draw than a loss, but it's more disappointing because we went in front, so not to see the game out kind of thing. And then obviously I think Chelsea won. I think Arsenal's winning, so that kind of closes the gap a bit. But yeah, it was always going to be hard to maintain winning every single game. At some point, we're going to have a banana skin. So obviously, Everton, we needed to win against Everton anyway, but we need to win against Everton even more now because the gap's been shortened.
Yeah, Wes, how are you feeling after that result?
Can you guys hear me?
Definitely, yeah.
I'm feeling a bit disappointed. As we said, we're in France, and then mistakes cost us. I feel like mistakes cost us all the game, the majority of the game today. So I'm a bit devastated because I wanted to win at Newcastle, but then I'll take it to us, fair enough.
Yeah, we'll go straight on to Kelleher because there's quite a few people disagreeing on X. Was it Kelleher's fault? And people saying bring back Alisson. 2 points dropped rather than a point gained. Dante saying he can understand why we signed the keeper. People saying we're crazy for calling the title about Kelleher. Neo saying let's not have his head. So the whole idea behind the title, Kevin, for me personally, is over Kelleher's been unbelievable, and I've been one of the people saying that Alisson shouldn't walk back into the side. Kelleher's got Liverpool to top of the Champions League. He's got us clear in the Premier League. He's been phenomenal, probably outperforming the level that anyone ever thought he would when he stepped into Alisson's shoes. But it is just that, isn't it? We had 3 points wrapped up. Kelleher made a crazy mistake. I still can't understand why he didn't catch it. You could say that by letting it go, if Trent would have had his man, then he wouldn't have been able to get onto the end of that ball to score. But it is a Kelleher mistake that's ultimately cost us 3 points. So the title, technically, it is correct. There's a Kelleher blunder that cost us 3 points. But throughout the game, yeah, he did have a few fantastic saves, what kept us in the game. But you could argue, since he's came in, this was Kelleher's worst performance. Not just because he conceded 3 goals, but he just didn't look the presence that he has all season.
No, I agree with that last point. This is probably, of all the games for him to have an error, it's this one, and it's sad in a way. Do you know what I mean? Because as you quite rightly said, there's nothing I can add to that. What you've already said, he's been phenomenal, and even in the game at times, he made some decisive saves in the first half. Do you know what I mean? He kept Gordon out with an opportunity. He kept was it not the Murphy strike against the post, but was it him or was it Tonali in the first couple of minutes of the game?
Yeah,
he has made a few decent saves. He's made one mistake, and I'll be honest. I've played this keeper. I'll be honest. someone who's behind him should be shouting to him to either to leave it or to go for it, man on. He can't see what's behind him, and it's down to communication there again. But you can blame him wherever you want. People will blame Kelleher, and people will go in for him. And the problem is, it's reactive as well, because it's straight after the game, and people are just gonna go straight on social media and call him for whatever. You've got to take a step back. The lad's been fucking phenomenal, and if you look at it, he still gets in the other 19 teams ahead of everyone else is number one, is our number two. He's done great. He's made one mistake. That's it. But he's in a position where if you do make a mistake, it's noticeable. And yeah, you can say it's down to him. But at the end of the day, we play as a team, we win as a team, we lose as a team. So the team didn't perform well during the whole of the game. The midfield was terrible. So we can't just highlight one person, because there's many people that could be getting the defensive errors. Look at the defensive errors of Gomez. I blame Gomez more than anyone for the way we played at the back tonight. But taking it away, the lad will come again, and he's got great attitude. As long as he stays off social media till the Everton game, which is what I'd recommend, because there's no point. Do you know what I mean? It does your head in. Do you know what I mean? Because he's done so well, and then anytime he does make a mistake or a goal goes in, the question's always there: would Alisson done the same? And that's the problem you've got when you're number two to the best person in the world. So yeah, he was at fault, but he wasn't the only one. As to the reason why we dropped points today. It's a team game, and a lot of them didn't show up tonight.
Yeah, the whole team was poor. Greece, don't you think comments from Slot this week, you could have got into Kelleher's head, where he sat there thinking, I've been playing out my skin in the form of my life, arguably the most informed goalkeeper in the world right now. And then you have your manager saying, like, well, when Alisson's back, he's number two again. And I think most of the fans were in the mindset of, well, Alisson's got to earn his space back. Kelleher is the best keeper in the world on form right now. But it doesn't help saying that before the game, does it?
Potentially, yes, because obviously with Klopp, when we had Klopp, he never ever said that Kelleher's still going to stay in, kind of thing. He would always be Ali goes right back in. So maybe it could have been maybe the wrong thing to say. But if we had won, we probably wouldn't be talking about the comment. Obviously, he was okay, but he did look shaky. But I just think the whole team looked shaky from the start of the game. We looked too open. We didn't really have control of the game. It was very roller coaster, back and forth. They attack, then we attack. So even when we got back into it, it didn't. And I never ever felt comfortable. I kind of wanted this game to get out of the way. So the fact we was able to go back in front, I was like, okay, it looks like we might get out of jail again. I didn't see that coming. He's made a mistake. Obviously, it's not nice. I would recommend he stays on social media, because people are going to be very reactionary. But we got to remember how good he has been. And at some point, like I said, we was always going to drop points, but it wasn't only Kelleher today. Gomez weren't great. Kwanzaa weren't great. Nunez weren't great. In midfield, we didn't look strong. We looked weak for large parts. They were kind of beating us to the press. They were muscling us out winning their duels and 50-50s. So, like I said, it's disappointing because we were in front and we didn't see it out. But I think we just got to take the point, move on, and then we need to make sure that we win against Everton, for me.
West, for you, is it more of like a point gained? I know Kev said this before, but Arsenal and Chelsea have both went to Newcastle and been beat. Liverpool went and drew. Now, if you're putting your performances up against them two, who are the ones chasing us at the minute, in terms of match versus match, it is more of a point gained, isn't it? Although it's disappointing to drop that point in the last minute. Newcastle and Arsenal and Chelsea have both dropped points at Newcastle, all three.
For me personally, like this game, for me, the way the game started, it looked like, okay, we'll take a draw. But then, as we said, we went up front, and I thought maybe, okay, they're gonna shut up shop, like defend now, be compact, and then for Kelleher to make that error, of course, it was his fault. But then, like, I don't blame him today. I look at Gravenberg today. I look at Nunez. I look at Gakpo. I look at the defense. So now we can say a draw is a great draw, but then Saturday we have to win on Saturday. Personally, we need to win that game.
Yeah, quite a few people are speaking about Nunez. We're going to get onto him later on, but just want to raise this to you first from yous. Do we have another defender crisis? Joe and Kwanzaa was shocking today.
I wouldn't go that.
What do you mean? Yeah, go on, Reece, because I was going to put this to you first anyway, to be fair, because you were speaking before we came on about Scott got it wrong. You should have put Gomez right back, Kwanzaa centre back. So what was your take on this?
I think he got it wrong at the starting lineup, because obviously the game against City, he brought Kwanzaa on to go right back for Trent against Doku, and it kind of worked. But City were poor that game, whereas this game, Newcastle were up for the game. So that in a way, even though we played really well against City, they were really poor, and we never looked like we were going to lose that game. We were bang at it, and they weren't. Whereas this game, Newcastle were up for the game. I don't think, even though we should have been, it's like we should have prepared better. I think the players were complacent and probably thought, yeah, we'll win. And yeah, he did get the. If you are going to play Kwanzaa, for me, centre back, because unless anyone else knows, I don't. As far as I'm aware, I thought he only plays centre back, not right back. I didn't know. He didn't look uncomfortable. He looked uncomfortable at right back. He looked very upright. The communication between them two down that side, when they changed it, it was slightly better. But yeah, I do think he got that wrong for me. So that's kind of an error there from Slot as well.
What about you, Kev? Looking at the Everton game, is it safe to say Trent has to start? I mean, there's people in the comments asking why Trent didn't start. I think it's just about managing his minutes, isn't it? He's just come back from injury. You've got no Bradley, so you've just got to manage Trent, haven't you?
Yeah, you've got to manage him as best you can. Otherwise, you end up in a situation where he gets injured or gets a slight knock, and then it kind of makes it difficult. I think it's a must game, a must win, and we've got to play our best 11. And we can't go there with this contentment like we have done tonight. We've gone to a hostile place tonight, and it's a hard place to play at times, and you've got to be up for it. I agree with what Jay Moose has said in the comments as well. 3-2, Endo should have came on. Do you know what I mean? So there's been, we have to remember this is Slot's first season, not like his third or fourth. So he has made mistakes. He made mistakes after the first international break. This is probably his second biggest mistake that he's done, and probably resting players for this one rather than taking it and playing your best you can. I understand I agree with Reece. Should have started with Gomez on the right and play Kwanzaa in the middle. But we weren't set up right anyway from the start, so it played in Newcastle's hands, and that's the worst thing that can happen. So for me, you've got to go with a better attitude, and it's going to be more. It can be a cesspit there, lad. You look at what happened last season. They always turn up for this game, regardless of how poor they've been all season and the run of games that they've got and the moaning and the whinging. I'll be honest, I'll be more annoyed if we drop points on Saturday against them, because deservedly so. We should be going there and winning about 8-0 for the way they play. But we've got to go with the right mentality. If we don't turn up like we did last year, then you might as well kiss goodbye to 3 points. We'll end up with a draw possibly. But we've got to treat it right and go with our strongest 11. And if that means Ali comes in, then Ali comes in. And if it means we play Trent from the start, we play Trent. But we play our starting 11. We're already missing McAllister, so we're already one of our best players down already. So we need to we need the players to be on it, because it is going to be hostile, and it's going to be similar to what Newcastle is, if not worse.
Yeah. Speaking of cesspits, tell me that you haven't watched the stream and just click the title and commented, because we're not just talking about Kelleher, we're talking about the whole team. It was just Kelleher cost the 3 points at the end of the game, was the title. Talking about Nunez, we haven't been a lot. If you listen to the stream, you'll see that. But West, what would you do on Saturday against Everton? Would you go Trent, Gomez and Van Dijk, or would you put Gomez right back with Kwanzaa and Van Dijk? And and keep managing Trent's minutes? What's the best thing for you to do?
As Kev said, I think I have to play Trent and I'll play Gomez because I have to go strong this game. We have to go strong this game. I mean, because like last season, like it was a disaster to us. I'm sorry, it was a disaster to us. This season, we have to go strong. If we drop points, we have to look now. Are we in a title race now? Are we gonna win the league? Can we challenge for the league? Because this Saturday, we have to win that game. I'm sorry, like we have to go Gakpo up front, Luis Diaz, Trent, Gomez, the strongest 11. I know McAllister will be a big miss, but then I think Jones can fill up. I think Jones has proven himself. He can fill up that spot, so I wouldn't mind that. I'm not really concerned. The, the only concerning part is the defense now, because I saw Everton's goals today. They were just set pieces. So I'm concerned. I'm looking at the defense. Today's performance didn't convince me anyway. So now Everton, of course, will take a set piece. Tchaikovsky, Rathway, McNeil will be hitting cross. So now, for me personally, defense is a bit concerning now. After today's game, Gomez and Kwanzaa, I'll give them a pass for today because we got a draw. But the next game, now we have to win.
Yeah, I mean, I'd probably agree with Liam saying it's the same side as sort of City, bar McAllister, for Everton, to be honest. But stupid yellow card, really, wasn't it, Kev, for McAllister? I think in other games, you don't get a yellow for that. Me personally, I don't think. I think it was just a very, very soft yellow from the referee, and it's a massive game that he misses now, isn't it?
Oh yeah, well, undoubtedly. But I think the referee had an analogy of booking anyone in a barcode tonight. It's shocking from the referee to 20 minutes in. You only have to look at what Trent did. 2 dives from Gordon, diving all over the place, clear balling, and he gives 2 yellows for them. Do you know what I mean? It's ridiculous, and you need the referees to be a bit strong with this. And I wish people would have. It's times like that you wish VAR could come in and just go, do you know what? He's diving there, because he should have been off for those 2 challenges, because he wasn't even touched whatsoever. So for me, it's naive. And he gave the referee an option, and that's what he's done. The referee's automatically gone to the cards and was quite happily to give yellow cards out to anyone in red, but for some reason didn't happen to anyone who was playing in a barcode. So the referee had a hand in that, and it's frustrating in a way, because we're now going to one of the worst games. I hate. I hate going to that ground, and I want my best players to be available, and to be missing someone like McAllister with that creativeness that we'll need for that game. It kind of frustrates me that we are without him. I'd rather he got a yellow in that game and picked one up and then was out for the next game, rather than missing a vital game for me, I think. So no, it's devastating, but it was never a yellow in my eyes. Never a yellow. I don't think hardly any of ours were yellows, if I'm being perfectly honest. Just crazy from the referee, I thought.
Yeah. Carter, take them whack opinions back to the WhatsApp group, because Jesus not dislodging Diaz and Gakpo, mate. You are mad. Reece, Darwin Nunez. What are we doing with Darwin Nunez? I mean, Charlie wanted to sell him and give Salah his wages. Left the dream to saying he might be better in defence. What do we do with Darwin Nunez now? Because that was a bad performance, wasn't it?
Yeah. For me, there's not much we can do. I still think nothing's going to happen. Slot's kind of using what he's got. Obviously, you can see he's not Slot's first choice. You can see that from when he's against Bayer Leverkusen and against City, he played Diaz through the middle. So you can see when Jota's not available, he plays Diaz. But he can't get rid of him right now. Like I said, a lot of the time he does okay for us, and defensively he helps and whatnot. But as a striker, you don't really want. That's not what you really want to be hearing, that your striker's tracking back. He's help. That's nice. That's a bonus. But you want a guy that's going to put the ball in the net. And today, there was 1 or 2 chances there where he should kind of kill the game. On top of Salah has to come pick up the pieces and scores 2 great goals, and he's clutch. But there was a chance there where Gakpo And I think Gakpo was going for goal. But for me, most strikers would be busting the gut to get onto the end of that. But with Nunez, he's always near missing, or it's always the same kind of pattern. And for me, this is the third season, so I'm giving him till the end of the season. But more or less, I think Slot's made up his mind, and I think we need a more clinical striker. I like old school strikers. Somebody's going to put the ball in the net. I'm not interested in this tracking back for the team, tackling. When Robbie Fowler, Owen, Torres, people like that, we weren't really talking about how they're working for the team. Their job is to score goals. So yeah, for me, it's really frustrating. And yeah, like Jay Musa says, Isak. For me, that's a perfect example of what you want. Because obviously a lot of our fan base, the ones who stick up for Nunez, will say that, what's it called? Will say, I lost my train of thought. 1 second.
That was Isak.
Yeah, Isak, yeah. A lot for Nunez, they'll say that, you need to create for Nunez. But look at Isak. Isak got himself involved in the game. He's moving around. He's dropping deep. He's going left. He's going right. He's causing the defense all sorts of problems. He got involved in the game. He's not just waiting for the ball to come to him. So don't get me wrong, a striker needs service, but great strikers, they make things happen. And for me, obviously, that's the guy I would be going for, Isak. But obviously, because of how much they're going to want, FSG are probably not going to go for him. But that's who I would be going for at the end of the season. I'll be trying to move Nunez on and get Isak for me.
I'd agree with
Christian.
that. Yeah.
Christian gonna ask the panel, like, do you think FSG will pull the plug? Eddie will pull the plug with Nunez?
I think it gets to a point where they probably have to. I mean, you're going to take a loss on Darwin Nunez regardless, considering the fee that we got brought in for. But it probably gets to a point where they've got to pull the plug and sell him. I think you can still get 30, 40 million for Nunez from, say, Italy or Spain or something. But it gets to a point where they can't. It's not feasible to keep banking on someone who the manager obviously doesn't fancy. But Kev, I want to speak about Curtis Jones. Klaas has sat saying showing McEngrave levels once again. I mean, I think Gravenberch was poor today, and we'll get on to that in a minute. But Curtis Jones, not just as goal for me, I think out of the midfield three, he probably was the best performer tonight. It feels like he wanted it more than the other two. How much praise should that lad get, considering everyone in the fan base more or less wrote him off the past few seasons? But still, under another manager, he gets consistent minutes. He's making a difference. And what everyone said last year was he couldn't be consistent in this side, and he's proved that this year. But just how good has he been for us this year, Curtis Jones?
He's been undoubtedly one of our best standout performers, and I'll be honest, I was hoping we'd see this, but I thought we wouldn't. And you're talking about a lad who came in at a relatively young age, had a lot of niggling injuries. So when he was starting to look good, what would happen is you get a slight knock and he'll be out of the team. And it was devastating for the lad. And when he came in, he lost his confidence a few times, keeping hold of the ball a bit too much. And then something clicked last season with him, and he looks an absolute worldie now, because he, instead of playing a negative Henderson ball of going sideways or backwards, he's the first one to turn and create. And it's his movement and the fact that he moved that ball forward and looking to progress us is outstanding for the lad. And the way he took his goal tonight, he's been great. If you would have said it 18 months ago that he'd be starting against City and he'd have a worldy performance against them, you'd be laughing your head off and going as if. The lad has come in and has done an absolute fantastic job when he's been asked to. And tonight, I quite rightly agree. Out of the three, he was the one who looked more willing and more. There was something about him in that game that made you think we may get something, and if we do, he'll be at the heart of it, whether assisting or whether scoring. So it's great in a way that we've got a young player like that, and the confidence is running through him at the minute. You see him when he's playing on the ball now. He's not less sensitive with the ball. He's more in a confident way, and he's playing in a style that he's suited. He feels as though he's at home starting and playing, and rightly so, because he's deserved that, and the accolades he gets now is only fruit of the labour of all the hard work he's gone through. So I can't praise the lad anymore for what he's done. He's gone away, he's worked on his game, and he's come back and he's answered his critics in the best way possible, which is on the pitch, and I'm made up for him. And as long as that continues, as long as he's over his niggling injuries, which I know young players have, but you know, that's the best I can say about him. He's been unbelievable, lad. Do you know what I mean? Your little lad has been amazing. How about you? Anything else you can add to that, lad?
I'd agree with Liam. Say I'm glad his missus let him stay in the spare room. It's the best finish he ever done. But put this before we move on to something else with Reece. Do you think it is the fact that it's just a different manager, different system? Like Klopp did seem to play him on the left or play him as a central midfielder, where his natural position, I mean, I've said it on several streams, was the 10. Cases prefers the 10. I think he plays very, very well deeper. But do you think it is the fact that it's just a new system that it is really tapped into the position Cases knows best?
Yeah, I think he mentioned that as well. Obviously, he gave praise and credit to Klopp. He just said this system kind of allows him to thrive more because it's more possession based. I think he said that quite early on during pre-season, and then obviously he is being allowed to play in the 10. Sometimes he has to play the double pivot, but he's really stepped up. Like last season, he stepped up because I've always rated Jones. I thought he's a good player. It's just at times, sometimes he takes too long on the ball. That was my only thing. It's just knowing when to release the ball at the right time, when to make the right pass, when to shoot. But he has kicked on from last season to this season, and I also do think that him having a child, I think he just looks more settled now. So I'm a strong believer in that. If you have family or certain other pieces of your life start falling into place, it allows you to relax. It allows you to relax as well because you know what you have and you know what you're working towards and what you're going home to. But he's stepped up again today. Jones, I think he's been a big player this season, and I still think he's going to be key for us if we're trying to win the league and any other trophies.
Yeah, West. Liam says he's got more freedom now, and he always came on to cover, but now he has the freedom to play football, and it's paying off. And I'd agree with like what Reece is saying. Things happening in your life outside of football falling into place gives you that little bit of purpose as well, doesn't it? To continue to want to impress and develop your career because you've got children now. You're settled. Everything falls into place. It just settles you as a person. I think he's playing with a lot more maturity this year, isn't he?
Yes, like for me, Curtis Jones, like I feel like the club system, since the club system was gang on press, we pressed them, we run, needed legs. I don't think Jones suited that system. Compared to looking at Slot now, it's okay, let's relax, compact, let's play, pass, let's move around. And I think since he had a kid, as we said and Kev, is it now he has more confidence now. He actually believes in himself that he has the quality. Because as everyone said now, he was the best midfielder out of everyone today. But then the only problem I had with Curtis Jones is that like the decision making up front, him and Soboslai, they go outside, but then when we run in our counter attacking, I question the decision making of it. But for Curtis Jones, shout out to him, he's doing well. And yeah, the only thing I can praise him now, the season I'm praising him very well. Because last season I was a bit critical about him because of the season making, but in this season, I think Slot gave him the trust, like yo, I trust you. Just like as Gravenberg, we'll speak on him soon, but then Curtis Jones has been brilliant this season.
Yeah. Moving on to Grav, then Kev. Derek saying he had a bad game for once. Lodge saying he did not play well today. I think it's fair to say Gravenberch did probably have one of his weaker games for the pool this season. But for me, watching now, I didn't think, oh, Gravenberch's been terrible here. The first thing that comes to my mind is if Liverpool had a more out-and-out 6, I think that would have helped us today. I think today's shown the need for a 6 in our side. Now, Gravenberch has been exceptional. I think if you bring a 6 in, Gravenberch starts next to them. But today just outlined having a player whose whole career has been like a defensive man at 6, say a Zubimendi or somebody. You think if you had someone like that on the side today, it's probably a different result, isn't it?
It is, and
It is.
it's sad in the way that we are heavily reliant on him. And you can tell today that I think it's tiredness as well. Do you know what I mean? The last week's taken an out of him. And then, I'm not trying to make excuses that, oh, well, he's only played 2 games already. But there were big games, against Real Madrid, and then against City. And then he's going to a place where he needs to be on high on energy. And it's hard to go 3 times in three games, one after the other. I think he's been great, but I couldn't agree more. And it raises the point and shows to the owners that, if you give me a 6, an actual 6, and a 6 that I want, this team could go places, and it's just a bit of tweaking. Do you know what I mean? And I'll be quite happy if we do bring someone in. I think it's needed, to be honest. And I know people say, "Well, we got Besesic there and Naoni." I get that, but they're not. You need someone of a certain stature and a certain player, and as you say, someone whose life is so wholly dominant and as a number 6. So for me, to have him alongside him, even to give him a rest, because we can't really rely on an Endo to do that for us. Although I was asking for him to come on, that was just a bit of game management and to trying to settle the game, which was already all over the place. So you're trying to settle the game away by making substitutions. That's what I would have done, but I wouldn't have started Endo. I do agree with you. You need someone like that who you can be able to rest them for certain games, especially after the big weeks that we've had, to be able to or even play alongside, because that's naturally what we're only missing at the minute. We're just missing for an upgrade as a defensive mid who can play in that position and allows us to utilise Grab as and when we need to. He's still young. I think people tend to forget that he's 22, 23. Is he still? Do you know what I mean? So,
He's 21.
Yeah, well, there you go, 21. So we've got 10 years of him. So, there's at least, bodes your time. But no, I agree with you. It does open that question. And I hope you'll start seeing the lazy journalism now kicking in for the rest of December, I think.
Reece, do you think that, I mean, I've been deluded since week 1 saying that we're going to win the Loftus year. I am every season. But I know a lot of our fan base are very cautious about saying, even with the 9-point gap, like, we're nailed on for the league. Yeah. Do you think if we did add a defensive-minded midfielder like a Zubimendi or another 6 in January, more of the fans would think, we have got this league because you can rest Gravenberch, you can alternate Gravenberch, McAllister, and a 6, or games like today, you've got that 6 who just holds the line. Do you think that's what Liverpool are missing for people to be like, this league's Liverpool's?
Yeah, I think that would be a game changer for me, because Gravenberch, it wasn't a great game, but I wouldn't say it was terrible. But it's like he imagine if we had a Zubimendi or a Shoemeni or someone who could come in and he can get a rest, because there's games like that where it's not so much going to be footballing. It's more going to be a battle where you just need someone who is more of a natural destroyer. Obviously, Gravenberch has done a great job so far. For me, that's not his natural position, but we haven't got someone else. Slot's kind of found a gem in terms of being able to use Gravenberch's attributes to play that kind of position. But yeah, when certain games like today is like, you can see that we need a few players in the January transfer, and I do think, as well as someone who can come in for Gravenberch, more of a destroyer, but I do think we would need maybe another left back as well, because Robbo looked tired, he looked leggy today. There was a couple mistakes. He was a bit late for tackles and things like that. I do think, even though he's an experienced player, he's made a few mistakes this season in certain games where I don't think he's the same player. He's definitely can be part of the squad, but we need someone else. But obviously, unfortunately, Tsimikas is injured. Today's game kind of showed that if we had a few more players to come off the bench, or a few other players that could come into the first team, then we could have rotated. It kind of be more like for like. So yeah, definitely, I do think if we were to get a DM, maybe a left back, or even another experienced centre back, that would fill us with fill the fans with more confidence that we can win the league. I still think we're in a great position, but it all depends how we react with the Everton game, because there's more pressure on that game now. But we would, all of us, I think everyone as fans would be more confident if we knew that you had like for like players to come in. But obviously for Gravenberch, you've got Endo, who you could see Slot don't really trust him. He kind of brings him on the last 10 minutes or so. So I do think, as well as the contracts, I do think January is kind of a big window, especially if we're still top by quite a few points, to be like, go and get the players you need to get us over the line to win this league.
Yeah. West, I mean, Liam's mentioned that we need to be careful. People were saying we need to bring a 6 in. We probably need it at the start of the season. I think everyone would agree with Liam on that point. But do you think it is a risk bringing a 6 in January and hoping that they do hit the ground running?
I don't think it's a risk because now, man, these type of games, the Newcastle game, you saw Jolinton was bullying Gravenberch. So now, like, you need like a Zubamendi or Tchouameni. So now, these type of games, we will need a 6. We will need a number 6 because now I think the attacking front, even though Nunez had a bad game, I wouldn't just say, okay, go get us an attacker. Just get us someone who keep us compact in the midfield. Zubamendi, Gravenberch, McAllister up front. So it's not risky game. The number 6 is January. Maybe if like we get a left back this January, I wouldn't mind it too. Because Robertson is also, as we says, he's looking a bit leggy. He's a bit touch and go. And Zubamendi for me is a perfect sign. Because now these type of games, I think the Everton game, the midfielders are looking at Gravenberch now, like, okay, if we can bully him off the ball now, because of what Jolinton did today, Bruno Guimaraes, Tonali, those guys are strong people. And Gravenberch is not weak, but then he's not strong too. So now these type of game leaders will maybe who slow the game down, who control the tempo. And yeah, generally things have to be sorted out in January, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know any player in the Everton side who could bully anyone off the ball. Hopefully, they are awful. I was going to move on to Mo Salah. But before we do, I want to put this. Here's what Muse is saying. So I think it is quite interesting. Why will Slot not use Harvey? Now, I know he has been injured, but before Elliott got his injury with England, he weren't using him at the start of the season, considering he did have an exceptional pre-season for us. What do you think it is? Kev, do you think it's just a matter of Jones is playing much better in the 10, and then the backup Szoboszlai, when he comes on, he's got the legs, where Elliott's not the fastest? I think Elliott's probably stronger on the ball than Jones, not than Jones, actually. I don't know. Elliott for me is always been that player where you're not quite sure his position, because he's played very well right wing, but I don't think he's fast enough to be a right winger.
No,
I thought he'd excel as a 10, but Slot just doesn't seem to fancy him, does he?
No, he doesn't, for whatever reason, and I'm trying to find a reason why, and I'm coming up with the same kind of common sense approach as what you've done, which is he's got us 2 for that number 10 who are actually performing at the minute, and until one of them react, or I think it's difficult. I reckon you see Harvey playing on Saturday, or coming on off the bench, because how creative he can be. But I don't know whether he would come on for Jones or for Szoboszlai at the minute. It's a difficult one, because, as you say, before he got his injury, he was quality, but he still couldn't get in the team. So there must be something about him that Slot is kind of waiting for. But I'll be honest with you, I can't put me finger on it as to why, because the only thing I can see now is he's got to try and fight for his place, and he's down to 3rd in the position that he needs to be. So, and again, I think the pace, the fact that he's got no pace kind of doesn't help him either. Do you know what I mean? So, when you got an energy of a Szoboszlai, and Curtis is pretty quick as well, it's a bit hard not to overlook them, and they'll always start. But I do think there's a place in this team for him, but I think he's going to have to wait for Saturday if an injury or suspension comes up, because I can't see him breaking his way in. He'll need to come on and do a David Fairclough and be a super sub for a bit, as Jay Moose has said.
Yeah, I mean, Reece will bring it to you. He was a super sub for Klopp. Do you think that's the role he might find himself having for Slot as well? Because like Derek saying here, Slot likes quick players. We've seen that with his final side. We've seen it with his selections at Liverpool. And you'd think now if Salah was, God heaven forbid, injured, he'd probably maybe go with Chiesa for pace over Elliott in that right wing, or even put Nunez out there. Do you think it is just a matter of his pace, or do you think Slot just prefers players ahead of him now?
Um, I still think he's gonna play a big part for me. We've got to remember he got injured, so because we've been doing so well, you don't need to rush him and throw him back in. You got to make sure that he's builds his match fitness back up, his confidence as well. Because for all we know, his confidence psychologically might be knocked a bit because he had an injury because he played so well during pre-season. I think where he plays, he doesn't really need pace, because if you watch when he played during pre-season and even under Klopp at times, but especially the Slot, he kind of slows the game down to his pace, and he's quite clever anyway in terms of when he's switched on and he's really flowing. So I still, for now, I think it'll probably be at some point a sub opportunity, a couple substitute appearances, and then he's got to kind of take his opportunity from there. But because we've got a thin squad, I still think he will have a part to play, because you pick up injuries, and then other players come in. So I still think he will get game time. It's just right now there's a few players such as Szoboszlai, McAllister, and how well Curtis is doing as well. There's a few players ahead of him at this moment in time.
Yeah, West, like Derek says, he's a very, very intelligent player, and like Reece has just alluded to, he is. He can slow the game down on when he's on the ball. I think some of his decision making is fantastic. His passes can break lines. Do you think Elliott's still got a role to play in this side?
Oof. Oh, yeah, maybe in the cup games, to be honest, because as we says, the way everyone is playing well so far. So I'm not saying he's a bad player, but then other players are doing better. You see, so I think he does, but maybe in the cup games, to be honest, I don't think in the league he will have a role, because if Soboslai drop his stinker, Jones comes on and Jones performs. If Jones drop his stinker, Soboslai comes on. So I don't know where Elliot will fit in this team in the league, but then maybe cup games they might throw him in, just like a Kwanzaa. Because I think personally, if Konate comes back, I think Gomez and Kwanzaa don't have a sleep in the starting 11, to be honest. So maybe in the cup games, I don't think in the league will have a position, a place. I mean,
Yeah. Before we move on to Salah, Liam, I think myself personally, Virgil and Salah stay. I think there's going to be uproar in the next few weeks because apparently Curtis Jones is getting a new deal, and I think that's going to be announced before them too. So that'll cause absolute uproar that Jones has got a contract before them three. I'm quite confident that'll be announced in the next few weeks as well. So hopefully it's after one of them. But moving on to Mo Salah, Kev, like you said, without Salah we lose 3-1 today. Raw's saying about he single-handedly won us the game. Didn't deserve to drop the points. Slot come out and said he sees us continuing with us for a long time. Did special things. I mean, you run out of superlatives to talk about Mo Salah. And you do look at his contract issue and you think he's come out this week. He's very, very vocal at the minute, which we seen last time he wanted a deal. To be fair, he got very vocal before he got it, saying he'd even take a 1-year deal. I'd give him that, but I don't think it's the answer, because you're then in this position next year when he's inevitably performed out of his skin for another season and you're in this situation again. But to replace someone like Mo Salah, it's impossible, isn't it? You think, yeah, that he's getting 350 grand a week wages with his bonuses, it's meant to be around a mil to 52 million pound a year, talking 104 million for 2 years. To go and buy anyone who's I don't think anyone in the world gets close to him, but you think of someone, say, like Kvaratskhelia, he's 100 mil before his wages. What is the hold up, do you think, with Salah? Because there's no one in world football who's better than Salah.
I think it's just part of the dance and part of the negotiations. I think he's probably asking for a 5-year contract. I think we've offered him 2. and I think we'll meet in the middle about 3. And I think that he deserves it. And I understand where Hughes and well, especially Edwards, doesn't give contracts out to 30-year-olds and all like that. I think you make an exception for the likes of Virgil and especially Salah, because Salah's the closest person we've got to a Lionel Messi. That's how good he is.
Yeah.
His numbers are just out of this world, and it's insane. And he's not even a striker. It's mad how he's come into this. How no one saw him, and we did, and we took a punt, and look how it's turned out. It's been absolutely amazing. It's a dream, and there's no one in world football doing what he's doing. So to replace him, you can't. The only option you've got is to replace how we bought him, and Briar, for a player who's consistently scoring goals till about 23, 24, and then bring someone in like that who's got a season to go. But it comes with a risk, as does giving him a 3-year contract or a 5-year contract, because he's in his 30s, and if he gets an injury, it's harder for him to get over an injury than what it is if he was younger. So, there's a lot of risk in it, and you get a risk with anything, but it's more of a risk especially with players over 30, which is why I think the club are reluctantly to try. But I do think it gets done. I think we can cope without Trent, but we can't cope without losing Virgil and Salah for me. And Salah at the minute, he's a dream at the minute, and what he's doing with his contract negotiations, I absolutely love him for, because he's basically saying, I am the main man, and the stats back it up. 67% of our goals this season he's been involved in, and there is an argument to say that if he doesn't score those goals, we could be languishing a little bit further down the table than where we are now. Whether or not anyone else would have stepped up, who knows, but that's how important he is to this side, and it's vital that you actually give him not necessarily what he wants, but I do think there's a way of negotiating and meeting him halfway, and we make an amicable agreement with him, because we can't afford not to at least put something in there of substance that he's actually going to turn around and say, yeah, go ahead, I'll do that. And a 2-year deal, or ideally a 3-year deal for me. But that's the kind of players you've got. Unfortunately, we've got 2 of the best players in the position, Van Dijk and Mo, whose contracts need to be sorted out. And I just hope that they do sign, and I do think they will. I think Virgil signs on the 27th of December, as I've said in our chat, because that's the day he signed for Liverpool at 6:30 in the evening. That's the night it was announced. So I think that will be announced then, and I do think Salah will be announced Christmas Eve or Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. That's that. But you've got to do it, and hopefully we get Trent. But I think, I'll be honest, mate, out of the 3, I think he's the one who goes, sadly.
With Salah, though, Kev, you're talking about probably the Ballon d'Or winner this year, aren't you?
Do you know what? It should be. But I don't know what the Ballon d'Or is based on, and I don't know why it's done outside of a season, because there's players, although Rodri fully deserved it, I don't, there's other players that should have been in the mix for it. It's sad in a way that not many black players have actually won it. And you've got to go back to, who was it? I think Georgie Weah was the last time. I may be naive, because it don't really interest me, the Ballon d'Or, because it loses its. I understand it's
Georgie Weah is Georgie Weah is the only black man to ever win the Ballon d'Or.
Yeah, so it shows you in a way, and you look at the players that have played in around Europe, and it's scandalous that isn't the case. Vinicius Junior, I thought, should have won it this year, but I'm wrong. Mo should have won it when we won the league, or when we won the European Cup. But I don't know what it's based upon. But in my eyes, he should be a Ballon d'Or winner already, along with a few others. But it's same with Virgil van Dijk. Van Dijk's probably the best. But you're looking at Cannavaro, who is the last defender to ever win last person to win a Ballon d'Or. You look at You going back to the 50s for the Hungarian goalkeeper is the last time a goalkeeper won it. It's hard. So I don't know how Trent's going to win it at Real Madrid. Do you know what I mean? But maybe have an IQ test and have a look at who the past winners are, and because I don't see him winning it at all, to be honest. But back to Mo, he should have won at least one or two by now for what he's done, especially getting Egypt to the World Cup, winning the World Cup, winning the European Cup, winning the league, and the stats he puts up. Phenomenal, mate. Honestly,
This year, he's not even been nominated in the top 10 African players this year.
I know exactly.
I think because of the format, yeah, I do think that they look at what trophies you win in that as well. Even though that shouldn't always come into it, that's kind of like icing on the cake. But if he continues with the numbers, he's definitely going to have a look in. But I do think if we end with the season with a Champions League, a Premier League, or both, or even the cups as well, I think he's got a really strong chance of winning it, because I think they do look at what trophies you win. Whereas for me, it should more be about how the performances of that player has been throughout the whole season. And similar to that, what Kevin said, he should have got at least one of those really. But then when you look at it, it's kind of predominantly it's usually Real Madrid or Barcelona. Only the recent one was Rodri, and the sounds of things that sounded like something was going on there with UEFA and Real Madrid, because they announced, I think beforehand that Vinicius wasn't going to win it. Hence why no Real Madrid people turned up to the event. And even before that, Virgil should have really won it. But it's tricky because, like you said, you don't really see defenders winning it. It was kind of surprising that a midfielder won it, even though I felt Rodri did deserve it based on what City did that season. So hopefully he gets that kind of accolade. But more importantly, Liverpool just needs to do the right thing and make sure all three of our players sign. The only one I'm worried about is Trent, is because potentially his head may have turned. Whereas I would like to keep all of them. Trent's my favorite player, but I do think Trent is replaceable. I think Salah and Virgil, we can't afford to lose right now. But I'm a bit more confident now that Kevin said that Virgil may be the 27th, because I completely forgot that he signed during that period. So who knows? FSG might be looking at that as well. Marketing, they might look at that. I still see them dragging it out because they're going to try and use it as like some sort of Christmas gift for us. And then that way they'll probably say, "Oh, these are your new signings here, players we already had." So that way you don't have to sign anyone. So yeah, I do think them two will sign, but Trent, I'm not sure. Hopefully all three, but I just have a feeling one is gonna go. And if it is one, I just have a feeling maybe Trent. I just think Bellingham's in his ear too much. And usually when Real Madrid come knocking for you, a lot of the time players don't turn them down. I think the last player I can remember is maybe Gerrard. And that's ironic because he was playing for Liverpool as well. So I guess we just gotta wait and see.
Because Gerrard is a proper scouser and actually wants to stay by his boyhood club. Trent's a Judas if he goes. Simple as for me. If Trent goes, but if Trent goes, I can't understand it. Now, Real Madrid are the biggest club in the world, granted, probably your best chance at winning a Ballon d'Or. But if you're a Liverpool fan who's grew up supporting Liverpool, dreaming of playing for Liverpool, then plays for Liverpool, no club in the world's bigger than Liverpool. If you asked me who's bigger, Liverpool or Real Madrid, I'm going to say Liverpool because it's your boyhood team. So to then leave on a free, it's the same as Steve McManaman. He's just a Judas rat if he goes.
100%. The only thing with Gerrard, though, you got to remember, and Gerrard's one of my favorites of all time growing up. He was gonna go to Chelsea. You got to remember why. You got to remember there was other.
Get the mafia back out.
There was other powers that be why he didn't go.
Where's that mafia for Trent?
Huh?
Where's the mafia for Trent? That's what stopped Gerrard.
Well, I don't know, boy. The same thing that stopped Rooney from going to Man City from Man United is the same thing that stopped Gerrard from going from Liverpool to Chelsea for me. So, but with Trent, he's got to think about it because you're a local boy as well. Is that if you do go to Real Madrid, I don't think you can come back to Liverpool. I don't even think you can come back to live in Liverpool. I don't think
Yeah.
people will be happy with that. So you got to kind of think. You got to think about your family, other things. You can become a legend at Liverpool, or you can just become one of many at Real Madrid. And the stick you'll get over there when things are not going well, it'll be way worse than here. Whereas Liverpool fans will always be loyal to you, whether you do good or bad, as long as you show passion. So hopefully he signs. But we should never have been in this position to be in the first place with all three. One player I can understand, but three, which is our spine,
Hard.
it's not good enough. Yeah. So hopefully those are the nice Christmas presents. Those three. That would be great news. But yeah, we have to wait and see.
I think for me with Trent, it's more if he was going to Real Madrid and getting a fee, 50, 60, 70, whatever million, I think fans would be more accepting of him going and fulfilling that wish to play for Real Madrid. Leaving for nothing, leaving your boyhood side with nothing when you know you're going to fetch your fee of around 100 million. That's what, for me, doesn't sit right, really. But finally, West, we'll put this on you to finish. Liverpool today got drop points, Arsenal won. Still think we win the league? Come
Yes.
on, be deluded like me. Yeah, we love it. Think we win the Champions League?
No, you're not deluded.
Champions League.
Man. You're not deluded.
Champions League. Champions League. You see, Champions League. I do believe Liverpool have a chance of winning the Champions League this season because of the heritage that we have. So Champions League, I always have hope that we're going to win it. The league has been taking in suspect, but then this season, after Man City's game, of course we drop points today. Of course we are comfortable to drop points. We have Chelsea, Arsenal sniffing at us, but then I think Saturday we'll get back on track. So I still think we're going to win the league.
We love that. We love that. Before we go, Liam, who've been constantly on X here, seeing you say you're the only one in the chat. You're not. Most of the comments come through YouTube. So we stream every day at 7:30 unless it's a post match. Head over to YouTube and put your comments there. There's more of a community there. There's loads of people in the comments speaking to each other and stuff. Where Twitter people just watch it and don't really really talk. It looked like you were quite up for a little chat with other Reds there. So I'd definitely say next time go over to YouTube because there's loads of people in the comments there who respond rather than just X, because you pretty much was the only one on X putting comments through. So next time go over to YouTube, but we will leave it there. Disappointing night, but we're still 7 points clear at the top of the league, and we're 9 points clear of Man City, which is what we love. Thanks once to Kev, Reese, and West for coming on today's stream. We're back tomorrow at 7:30, same time, same place, and we'll see you then.